Hello, and I welcome you back to the House of Graphic Literature. I'm your host, Bet, and today we have another installment of dollar bins and cheap trades, or in this case, 50-cent bins and cheap trades. I just got back from vacation. I hit up some comic shops along the way, and this was my bounty. So, to start us off, we have 4 issues of Shatter, the great, entirely computer-generated comic. And I ain't talking no AI bullshit. I mean that this was drawn on a MacBook, and I believe it was 1990... No, even earlier than that. It was 1986. These comics were drawn on a MacBook in 1986. And it's all scattered issues, so number 5, number 3. But like, look how good this looks. Something that was drawn on a goddamn MacBook. These are fantastic looking. Especially love the color. I'm not sure if it was colored digitally. I'm pretty sure it was drawn digitally, and then it uses regular color separations, but I don't know for sure. All I know is that it's a very sexy looking book. And I dig it a lot. This one's from '88. Yeah, there was also, there was a Marvel graphic novel. It was like an Iron Man graphic novel that was done in this style, which I also find really interesting. I don't have that, though. But yeah, really cool lettering. Good 50-cent bin pickups. Next we have a random issue of Paul Grist's Kane. Really cool black and white crime comics. Very unique design. I showed off a Kane in the last video. Very clean style. I dig it a lot. And this is... yeah, this is still the Dancing Elephant Press ones. Very nice. Basil Wolverton's Fantastic Fables. This is one of 2. They didn't have the second issue in there. But it's basically just the early weird Basil Wolverton comics. These were collected recently by Fantagraphics. Well, not recently. Quite a bit ago. But these were collected by Fantagraphics into nice hardcover collections. And of course there's also a collection of all the Space Hawk stuff. It's a nice little essay. Some really cool spreads in the back here, because that's mainly what Basil's known for, is his very inventive, strange spreads. Jumpin' Jupiter. No Powerhouse Pepper in this one, which is unfortunate. I think Powerhouse Pepper is a really fun, weird comic, but yeah, for 50 cents, you really can't go wrong. And look at that cover. That's so good. Good stuff. Earth Lore, The Legend of the Dragon Lord. Picked this up just because it looked really interesting to me. Also, this is 1986, so you know, pretty big year for black and white and weird indie comics. Really sick looking book, as you can see. All of the techniques on display here. The inking. Well, actually, the inking isn't really that heavy. It's just something I can dig. Look at that. Really cool. Seems to be really wordy, though. So, I don't know whenever I'll get around to reading this one, but pretty cool. Macross Valkyrie on the back there. American Splendor Windfall. This is obviously a lot later than the American Splendors that we know, and by like Robert Crumb and the like, but I mean, you know, it's still American Splendor for 50 cents. I think this is pre-Dark. No, this is the Dark Horse era of American Splendor. But yeah, if you've never read American Splendor, you should. Basically, the OG autobio comics. Harvey P. Carr was a really cool guy, and he got a lot of cartoonists their first jobs. This was 1995, so definitely very late in what we know as American Splendor, but very nice nonetheless. Dead World by Vince Locke, and also Mark Bloodworth. Classic zombie comics, definitely inspired Kirkman and Adlard's Walking Dead, I feel. The Dead Tales story in the back here. Here's a really nice ad for The Crow by James O'Barr. Probably still being published at this moment in time. But yeah, any Caliber book is going to have really cool artwork. Guy Davis's Baker Street ad as well. Good stuff. Really nice back cover too. Tukey #1. I've seen the paperbacks for Tukey, but I've never seen the original cartoon books issues, and they're done in this style, which I really don't like too much. I've never been a big fan of like this like newspaper reprint orientation, but it is in full color, which is really cool because I know the paperbacks aren't in full color. So, and I mean, you know, it's Jeff Smith, so it's pretty gorgeous, really fun, and I'm glad I saw this in there because I almost passed it up, thinking it was like a reprint or something. But yeah. The Force of Buddha's Palm, #8. Jade Man comics. I don't have too many of these, but they're really sick. Hong Kong manhwa. Crazy wuxia stories. Many of which adapted by Mike Baron, so the dialogue is often insane in these. But yeah, super sick looking comics. Really love this stuff. It's hard to get a full run of these, because you'll find a bunch of them, but they're always scattered. They're never consecutive. But yeah, pretty cool book there. And then the last of the back issues is this series right here, Rebel Sword, also known as Star of the Kurds. This was actually, give me one moment. This was actually published in this, Shonen Captain issue 1, alongside Takeya Yoshiki's Bio-Boosted Armor Guyver, which is the main reason that I picked this magazine up. But then I also saw that there's a Yasuhiko story in there. And this is that right here. Star of the Kurds. So I was very surprised to see that Dark Horse had put this out under the name Rebel Sword. Of course, done in the American comics format with really weird paper. This is like a... I don't really know how to describe it. It's not newsprint, which is what I expected it to be, but yeah, this is a Rebel Sword. There was that one piece that we literally just saw, and this was issue by issue. I don't think it ever got finished because there were only 6 issues. I'm pretty sure the final like tankobon like count is like 3. But yeah, we got 1, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm missing 2 and 3. But yeah, I mean, solid looking comics. Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, probably best known for the character designs from Mobile Suit Gundam, but he did comics of his own, and that's these right here. So yeah, very nice. Also, you bet your ass I'm gonna make a video on this someday. Very nice piece in my collection. Alright, now that we've covered the dollar bin issues, we could talk about the cheap trades. First up, we have Red Snow by Susumu Katsumata. Also published by Breakdown Press. This was published by Drawn and Quarterly. Really solid collection. Breakdown Press put out called Fukushima Devilfish. A really excellent Ryan Holmberg essay. And so I'm already a really big fan of this cartoonist, so I figured I would pick this up as well. Seems like a lot more mundane stories compared to Fukushima Devilfish, which I'm okay with, because those were a lot more fantastical. No major... Actually, hold on. This might be a little bit of an essay. Yeah, here's a little bit of an essay, but it's not a ton. Of course, Holmberg is known for his, like, really long essays now, but this is only, like, 2 pages. But, yeah, super cool. Actually, I don't even know if this is a Holmberg essay or not. I think it is. Oh, there's no one cited here. That sucks. Anyways, yeah, really nice collection. It's hardcover, too, which I always dig a nice hardcover Gekiga manga collection. In the last video, I showed the Daredevil Visionaries Volume 2, and while I was out, I found just the standard Daredevil Volume 1, but this is the same material, plus a little bit more, because this also collects the Spectacular Spider-Man issues that Miller did, so, but other than that, it's all the same material, and then I think this also has more, like this has the first Elektra issue, if I'm not mistaken, and some other stuff too, so there's a little bit of an overlap, but this was 50% off, so I really didn't want to pass it up. So, there you go. Oh, and there's also some, looks like there was a little bit of a script in the back, which is really nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that shit. Good stuff. And now are the 2 series that I was seeking out heavily. I really want to get into crime comics. And the thing is, crime comics are popular in the US, but other countries do crime comics a little bit, like they kind of hold them in a higher priority. And so, luckily, we do sometimes get that stuff. And in the last video, I mentioned Torpedo, which had work by Alex Toth in it. And while I was out, I found these beautiful hardcover IDW editions of Torpedo, featuring only Bernay artwork, rather than Alex Toth, because Toth only did about, I think, like 3 stories, and then the rest was done by Jordi Bernay. But God, look at this stuff. It is beautiful. I love the inking, I love the figures, the storytelling is so solid, and what's great about these is that you really don't need much context. Like, you can just pick up these volumes and just read them, because it kind of works in a way like a newspaper strip, where the stories are a lot more, if there's a storyline, it'll follow one, but more often than not, it's its own thing, and I really dig that. So you can really just pick up one of these and read them. These are, of course, mega out of print, because IDW hates keeping good stuff out of print, or in print, I should say. So, yeah, once I saw these, I knew I had to grab them, and thus I did. Very, very nice stuff in here. Here's volume 5. This was the last volume that they actually published. Because this material was actually not previously published, because Catalan Communications had this stuff, but it only, I think it only published up to like volume 3. So this is the rest of it to round it out. And yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of black and white on glossy paper, but I think it works for this, personally. Yeah, here's her storyline. The year we drank dangerously. Just really sexy, cool crime comics. So, very happy I got my hands on those. And finally, the crown jewel of this pilgrimage, Jose Munoz and Carlos Sampaio's Alex Sinner, The Age of Disenchantment. This is probably one of the best crime comics ever. It inspired Frank Miller, it inspired Mike Mignola, it inspired so many cartoonists. And it is amazing in its own right. This second volume is a little more shaky and very abstract, but it's really good stuff. These comics are something really special, and I really think that you should seek them out, no matter which way you can get them, because they've been published in various ways. I know Fantagraphics published them as single issues, and then there were these IDWs, which again, extremely out of print, unfortunately, which fucking sucks, because this deserves to be in print. Everyone deserves to own a copy of Alex Sinner. So I was really happy to see this. Still haven't found volume 1 yet, because volume 1 is extremely hard to find for a good price. So haven't got my hands on that yet. But this volume 2, it's really good stuff. The story is insane, because there is a pretty famous story about Keith Giffen, excellent cartoonist, stealing work from Jose Munoz and putting it in one of his miniseries. And it was quite a big scandal at the time, so much so that Munoz and Sampaio actually made a whole story about this guy who steals another cartoonist's work, makes bank off of it, and then kills the cartoonist. Which, personally, I find it a little hyperbolic, but I can kind of understand, you know, you put all your heart and soul into this work and only for someone to take it from you without credit. I can understand where that would be pretty heartbreaking, but at the same time, I do think it's a little hyperbolic, as I said. The thing about these Alex Sinner collections is that these don't really cover any sort of period. The stories are kind of all over the place, mainly because whenever IDW decided to print this stuff, it's basically in chronological order, and so some stories were not written until later that come in the chronology. Other stories were written earlier on, so it's there's nothing really chronological about it. So some of these stories might be from the 70s, other ones might be from the 2000s, but it's a really beautiful tome, about 300 pages, and I really can't recommend it enough if you can find it, especially if you could find that first volume too. I'm really hoping, since Fantagraphics just recently announced that they'll be picking up Hugo Pratt's, what's it called? Corto Maltese, they'll also try to pick up Munoz and Sampaio's body of work, because other than Alex Sinner, we also have Joe's Bar, which was put out by Catalan, but not in full. It's like maybe 100 pages of the 300 that exist of Joe's Bar. And there's some other really cool stuff that is just completely unknown to us. So I'm really hoping that Fanta decides that they want to be nice to us and print all that material. But until then, if you could find these, definitely track them down, definitely pick them up, definitely read them from start to finish, because it's great stuff, and you really owe it to yourself to read great comics like Alex Sinner. But anyways, guys, really hope you enjoyed this. If anything here piqued your interest, definitely go seek it out. If you could find it, that's great. If you can't, just lie in wait, because there's a good chance that it will show up at some point. Because if there's anything that I've learned from my comic pilgrimages is that it's amazing what you can find in corners of your own backyard. Anyways, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.